So this is the second part of the first question from the 2014 exam. It's a little bit more wordy than the first part, and there's a few fiddly things we need to work on. So read the question through carefully, and we'll get started. So there's three key things that we've included in this sentence. The first thing is that we've taken T, N, and I to represent the amount spent on television, newspaper, and internet. The next thing is that we're working in units of $100,000. You can see that here, here, and down here. And the last thing is that we're working in a, no mistake, that should be 3-month period, which we get from up here. Alright, the next thing is to see what it is that we're maximising or minimising. This one's a little bit odd. We're working with public approval, and because we're the evil healthy baby berry company, we're going to minimise public approval for regulations. So you get this here. So we want to decrease public approval by as much as possible. That's the nice vagueness so you want when you're figuring out what it is that you're maximising or minimising. So we're going to minimise Z, which will be our percent of public approval. Now Z is initially equal to 80% from here. And then for the first 200,000 spent on TV, we get a decrease in public approval of 15%. Now normally we get 5% for every 100,000, so we've won ourselves an extra 5% that we'll definitely be getting, so we include that here. So we can just make that 75. Then we get 5% for every 100,000 on TV, so 5T, minus 6% for every 100,000 on newspaper, every 100,000 on newspaper, and then 7% for every 100,000 on internet. And that's our objective function. Now we need to take care of our constraints. So we know that this is subject to, going from top to bottom, the company wants to spend no more than 800,000 in total. So T, television plus newspaper plus internet spending will be less than or equal to 800,000. We need to spend at least 200,000 on TV. So T will be greater than or equal to 2. Newspaper should be no more than half of television content. So newspaper should be less than or equal to half T. A slightly better way of doing that is saying 2 times N should be less than or equal to T. And then we're capping internet expenditure at 150,000. So I should be less than or equal to 3 on 2. Now all our spending will be positive. So T, N, and I will all be greater than or equal to 0. And one final thing is it doesn't make much sense to have public approval less than 0%. So we want to make this expression here greater than or equal to 0. So the most sensible way to do that is rearrange a bit and say 5T plus 6N plus 7I will be less than or equal to 75. And done.